Alright, so for my last vlog, I'm going to do The Third and Final Continent by Jhumpa Lahiri. I looked that up, so I pronounced it right. So, overall, this story, for starters, I loved it. It was a feel-good story. It covered a different culture than what we're used to, which I thought was very interesting. Um, just pretty much everything about this story I loved. Um, one of the main themes that I picked up right from the get go was the theme of starting or going to a new area, a completely new area. Like as the narrator, which I don't believe we get his name, but the narrator is from India, travels first to England as kind of a midway, and then ends up in the U.S. in Boston. And so he is shocked, not like physically shocked, but his system is shocked because he's in a completely different culture than what he's used to and what he is accustomed to. And it's sort of a shock to the system. Like when he comes over, the only thing he's eating is cornflakes and milk, and then it says, in a week I had adjusted more or less. I ate cornflakes and milk morning and night, and bought some bananas for variety. So he's used to eating egg curry and other that's really the only example we get of their food, but he's used to his native cuisine, and when he gets over to the U.S., there's nothing really that either A, sounds good, or B, that he can eat, because he also can't eat meat, or beef to be exact, because of their beliefs. So what he does is he just eats cornflakes and milk. And then later on, he goes to Mrs. Croft's house to get in an apartment, and she acts in a way that he has really never seen anybody act or heard anybody talk. He knows she's an elderly lady, and just either kind of chalks it off as it's because she's old, or because it's America and he's not used to it yet. But then there's the very, not the first time they meet, but the second time they meet, when he comes in and she tells him, "Hey, sit down on the piano bench," and they have their little talk, and she says, "There's an American flag on the moon," and he says, "Yes, madam." And then it goes on, and it says later, it says, "The women bellowed, 'A flag on the moon, boy. I heard it on the radio. Isn't that splendid?'" And he says, "Yes, madam." And she very abruptly says, "Say splendid," which he's not used to. It's a custom that he is not aware of, and it might not even be a custom. It might just be the way she acts. But he's just so unaccustomed to it because it's such a cultural shock to him that he's not able to pick up on it right away. It takes him quite a while before he realizes this is just something she does, and then he gets accustomed to it and falls into this routine. Another theme that I picked up on was there was sort of an underlying theme about the arranged marriages and how they occur in this society, and I thought it was a little refreshing to be able to get the male perspective of this, because we usually only get the female side, where she's lorded over by this husband figure, and she doesn't really have a choice in it, and she might not be in love, but it's her duty. Whereas this, we get the same type of feels, but it's from the male perspective, where it is sort of his duty to get married, and up until a certain point, he doesn't ever really feel like there's a love connection between him and Mala until they're in Mrs. Croft's house after she had fallen, and then there's that little interaction between them where Mrs. Croft asks Mala if she can play the piano, and she says no, and she's analyzing her, and then she tells the narrator that she's a perfect woman, and they kind of chuckle and stuff, and that's when he finally starts to feel that there's a love connection between them. And I think it's interesting that we get that side of it, because it shows that both male and female in this sort of arranged marriage can feel the same way, where it's their duty, but it takes them a while to feel the love between them and to feel like they are husband and wife, because up until that point they're basically strangers, and that's kind of how he puts it, is that they're basically strangers to each other. And so, like I said, overall, I really enjoyed this story. There's a lot of other stuff that I wish I could have covered, but I'm already dragging on as is. So, I hope that sparks a good discussion, and I'll see you tomorrow.